Hello, it's me, Krista, and you will be joining me on today's Cicada quest as we look for those most magical of all creatures, the periodic or 17-year cicadas of brood 5. Now, all around me you can hear the calls of the cicadas, who are not right in my immediate vicinity, but some distance up the trail along the prairie. However, surrounding me here on these low trees are the shed exoskeletons of many. I will show them to you right now. So these are the shed exoskeletons of our brood 5 cicadas, sometimes wrongly called locusts. True locusts, of course, are grasshoppers. So as we look here, we find many such exoskeletons. Here's another. These, of course, are completely empty now, for the cicadas have emerged in their adult forms. And that is what you're hearing all around us. Those are the breeding calls of the adult males. And let's see, there were many more. Here's one. Now these cicadas do spend 17 years below ground, digging and feeding upon tree roots. And in the 17th year, they then emerge, shed their final skin as a larva, and take up the adult life. So we will be seeing some of those very soon. Here's another exoskeleton here. All right, onward to the cicadas. Here are many more exoskeletons that have been shed by our periodic cicadas. And even more excitingly, on this tree is our very first adult cicada. And here it is sitting very quietly. Now I know the light here is not the best, but here we have some newly emerged cicadas who have not yet shed. So this one over here is moving its forelegs. Up here we have one who has just shed and seems to be hanging half in, half out of the shell. Now I know from reports online that there are definitely some failures to shed. I'll have to check this guy out a little bit more closely to make sure that he or she is able to get out of the shell without, of course, interfering with that process. But as you look here, you see countless cicada shells all up this tree. And some, like this guy, may still have someone clinging on. On this tree as well, we have many shed exoskeletons. And ascending the bark, we have 2 cicadas who have shed their skin. This one here is walking along. And this one doesn't look so good. The wings are clearly not formed right. But as for this guy, it would appear that his wings are dry enough so that he can be picked up safely and looked at for a bit. So here we have a wonderful example of a brood 5 cicada. Again though, look at his wings. They're kind of a bit odd looking, aren't they? Hopefully, after they dry and unfurl, then they will be looking better. We're still continuing down to the site where the cicadas are calling, but here I have seen several of their exit holes. So here is one. Let's come a little closer. And let's see, there was one over here. There. So the cicadas emerge from these holes and make their way to some vegetation where they can hang and shed themselves of that final skin that we have been seeing. Now we have here 2 adults that I can see. So here's one. And over here, hanging on a branch, we have another. I'll get a little bit closer so we can... Alright, so here's this one that's hanging onto the branch. But no one here is calling just yet. These seem to be the recently emerged cicadas. Soon we will be seeing those who are calling. Here we have a new emerger, having just shed its exoskeleton, hopefully safely, and is hanging out for a while. And some distance behind I see another, perhaps doing the same thing. I'll have to refocus over there. Looks like that one is out of the shell and is just hanging out for a while. Here's an adult right here on my finger. And we're getting nearer to where they are calling. You can probably hear them. So hopefully we'll see many of these guys soon. I'm still not actually finding any that are calling, but I am finding many adults like this one here, and on an opposite branch like this one here. All of the ones I've seen so far are just kind of sitting still like this, hanging on a branch. And it's my thought that they must have just emerged from their exoskeleton. I know that they have to rest for a while, dry their wings, and so on. But of course we are hearing many cicadas calling, and I think we may finally be getting closer to the source of those calls. And here we have some cicadas who are actually on the move. There's one here, and there are several others in the same area. And one here, and one more on the move over here. These ones are flying, and as they fly, they were making a rather loud whirring sound. There he is. There were quite a few of them that suddenly flew up into this tree. On this branch, I see several. Let's see if I can get over a little closer. There are several up in the tree. I don't see any close by, but the air is filled with the sounds of them here. Oh, up here I see some flying and landing on those branches. Now, I've been told that even though this is considered one brood as far as emergence time, it's actually more than one species of cicada, and those have different calls. So the one siren-like call we're hearing is different from, apparently, this rasping call that we are hearing. And it is cicadas, apparently, who are responsible for both. Now, this is the first emergence of cicadas that I have ever really witnessed. I don't know where I was the last time this occurred. But anyway, I'm far from an expert, as you may have supposed. I'm sure in coming weeks I'll learn a lot more about them. There are two that are mating. The pairing of cicadas. And we have another adult here. Many of them up here in the branches, although difficult for me to really see or film. But they're up there. You can hear them. As far as adults on the ground, there are more here than any place else I've been yet. Now, some of them, again, are not very well formed. This guy here has a wing that's kind of hanging ajar. This one's wings look small and shriveled. These two appear to be mating. On the ground. A somewhat surprising choice of locations. Oh, and right here, two more are sitting. There are several on these branches here. And essentially all around this place, there are many on every branch. And here are many of them. There's another right here. I've gotten into an area here that is very thick with cicadas. You have to be careful of where you step, in fact, because they are all over the trail. Many of them are already dead and partially dismembered, perhaps by insect predators. And on this tulip tree, I'm not sure if you're able to see them, but there are many of them, and they're clinging to the branches. And all along the trunk, those are the bodies of cicadas. Here are some that are conveniently congregating on some lower branches. And I've read that in order to deter predators, the males make a certain sound, letting them know that they're not the egg-rich females. I say this because just now, as I stepped closer to this tree, a good many of them made a strange sound and then flew off. And I'm wondering if that is the predator deterrent sound. You may have heard it in my last video clip. I didn't mention it just then because I wasn't aware of what it was. Then suddenly it dawned on me that I bet that's what it was. This one has just landed in my hair. Maybe we'll get to see it fly off. Or maybe not. Alright, I've reached nearly the end of our trail here, so that concludes our adventure for today. I did want to show you these holes, which are surely emergence holes of all the cicadas. So here's the biggest cluster of them that I have found here so far on our trail. And here on this tree we have a nice cluster of exoskeletons of the juveniles and some newly emerged adults who are clinging to the bark.